Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the third episode of Decoding Mommy Life with the Experts. Our guest today is Sriram, who is an award winning thought leader and also the author of Happiness Habits. He's happiness at work expert and he actively promotes the role of human first and is on a mission to help companies create happy, holistic, and human centric workplaces. As part of his happiness focus, he also focuses on parenting and he has run several workshops on parenting called What Your Parents Did Not Teach You About Parenting. Also a life coach, he's worked in MNCs and Indian IT firms in HR for over 25 years, and 16 years of those have been as an HR head. His opinions have been invited to various forums such as TEDx, NASCOM, NHRD, Economic Times, Google, etc., to name a few. Welcome, Shriram. We're very happy to have you here. And as a father yourself of two beautiful daughters, I would like to ask you, what is the greatest gift that we can give to our kids?
I think in these times, right? First, thank you for the introduction. Appreciate it. Very happy to be featured over here. I think in these times, the greatest gift that we can give, okay, starts with our attention. Okay, full attention when you are engaging with your kids. I think many times we are, you know, only partly engaged, and they sense it. And in that part engagement, when your mind is occupied with many things, we don't engage with kids. We don't see their expressions. We don't see their, kind of disappointments, and hence our ability to correct ourselves in that moment goes away. So that's the first thing. The deeper things are, one, you want to build good values. Okay, the things that you want to leave them with, which is all your education, the schools that you send, all of that, you know is okay, but actually what stays with them for life is the values that you impart for them, and that is not given by teaching, but is given by living. Okay, so the way you live is what they pick up, and that's the kind of values that they want. The third is to really kind of build their own self-confidence, self-worth, and self kind of give them that independence of kind of being good, confident people. That will come with positive, encouraging parenting, rather than picking faults or trying to correct them, and bring them to our ways. So I think these are the most important things, because in the underlying level of all of this is that eventually kids have operate with a set of beliefs. Okay, now those beliefs come from these exposures, which is in terms of what values are they seeing you live. Okay, how you have encouraged them to be their own best kind of version. And for you to do this, you have to pay attention to them at a very deep level.
Right. So, according to you, who you are is more important than what you teach your
Yeah,
kids. Why is that so?
because often we think that kids learn based on what we tell them, but actually
Right.
they don't learn by that. In fact, half of that just they filter off, or they kind of don't even register. But what registers is the actions that they see you repeatedly do. If you are complaining about your servant and they hear it often, even in passing, right, then what is the message that they're interpreting? That, oh, okay, if we have to deal with problems, we have to complain. That is the association that they make. And they may not complain about servants, but they think that complaining is the way to deal with problems. Now, that's the problem, right? That we don't realize. Okay, we in our own way, kind of in our own upbringing, in our own, frustrations, we do certain things. And that is what, they pick up. The same way, how do
Mm.
you treat your driver? How do you treat the person on the road? All of those behaviors kind of associate, and they say, oh, okay, maybe this is the tone that I should use. But when you notice that tone, then you're not happy, because you say, oh, why are you talking like this? But actually they picked it up from you.
Right.
So which is why who you are is a lot more important than what you teach them. In fact, my bigger kind of finding, or kind of note over here, is that we have our journey of parenting is about ourselves in terms of we becoming better humans. That is the journey of parenting. Parenting journey is not about bringing up kids. Kids will come up anyway. They may come up a certain way or a different way. But actually, the parenting journey is a lot more important for the parent because it is a journey of self introspection, self awareness, and progression. Often we don't think of it that way. The first part of the parenting journey is for us to evolve into better humans. And in that journey, okay, when your kids are watching you and you're not doing something right, the message to you is change that. Then they see the
Correct.
better of you, then they aspire to imbibe that. That is how you teach them. And that's difficult. It's not easy.
Yes, so that's very interesting, Sriram. Like you said, parenting is a journey of self-awareness and personal development for the parent first. They have to evolve themselves. How do you think they can do that? What are some of the habits that the parents can practice to become more self-aware?
See, I think first is that we have an intention. See, many people think that because they have a child that they are in an elevated position to teach the child what to do. Okay, first is we have to break that and realize that they are there to learn, we are also there to learn. We have to learn other things, they have to learn certain things, we have to learn patience. Okay, we have to learn to kind of control our own judgments, control our own emotions. There is so much that we have to learn. Okay, but at the top of it is this first thing, which is that this realization that this is not about them, this is first about me. To be the best parent that I can be, I need to be the best human that I can be. That intention has to come, because I see that many people are not even thinking that way. They're only thinking, oh, I want to give my child the best. You want to give your child the best, you become the best. How do I become the
Interesting.
best? First is you accept that. First is you realize that, oh, I need to become a better version of myself. That is the best thing that I can give my child. Then, after that acceptance comes in, then you look at your behaviors. Okay. And you look at the things where, okay, and the clues will come from the child's behavior. When you notice something that they're doing which you don't like, go back and see where is this exposure coming to the child from, and am I unconsciously somehow kind of projecting this to the child. So that's your second clue of saying that, okay, as a thing. Third is, of course, whenever there is an issue or a problem, those are all areas. Your teenage daughter is not listening to you. Okay, that is an issue. Saying, okay, why is she not listening to me? Because I am perhaps judging too harshly. I am trying to control. Okay, which is why that she's resenting that. Then you go back and see, what do I do differently? Instead, we go and say, oh, they're teens, they're doing this, they're doing that. Yeah, they're growing, their independence, they want independence, they need it. Okay, but what am I doing differently? No, 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 I want them to be a certain way. I will control, I will tell them. It doesn't work till it goes to a point where the relationship gets kind of damaged, and then you realize, oh, okay. Or sometimes you don't realize also, because they cross that stage, they go, but that that break stays with them. Then much later, when the equations change and they are in a they are earning, you are older, then these things come out saying, you did this to me and things, and by the time it's too late, this whole blame game has to stop. And we just have to kind of realize that you start with these three things, which is that, how do I become a good role model? First, accept that I need to be a good role model. Okay, look at their behaviors, see if somehow we are mirroring those behaviors to them as a thing. And then look at the problem areas. Where are the problems? And in those problems, how do I influence those better with changes in my approach? It's just a change in approach. But the change in approach needs awareness. Okay, it needs awareness, because you have to say, okay, am I being too aggressive? Is my tone being too dictative? Okay. And naturally, every living species in the world wants to be free. Okay. Everybody's aspiring to have more freedom, including your child. So you cannot constrict that and say, oh, okay, you shouldn't. That aspiration is God given. You cannot go and stop that. But within that, we have certain responsibilities. We have to keep them safe. We want to bring them up well. You can do that. But when you know how to do it for your child's temperament, for their personality, all of this requires introspection. This will not, we are trying to wing this whole thing along with our lives. And we are using it based on, which is why I'm saying that, and you're relying on your experience, and what your parents told you. No, imagine the things that have changed. How did you grow up? Where are they growing up? And you saying, oh, we did this, that. They just cannot relate to it. You can say it as many times as you want. It is a different world. So you saying I grew up like this, I did this when I was a child, and how much we have to do, we have to fold the bed sheet, this, that, and all that. Yeah, you're living a lot more comfortably. They don't see the need for it. Okay, but still, can you influence them? Can you? Yeah, of course you can influence. But first is you demonstrate. Yeah, I can go on, but let me pause over here and break.
That's very insightful, Shriram. I would really want to, I'm very curious to understand, as a parent yourself of two daughters, what's been like the biggest challenge for you and how have you adapted yourself to the
Yeah.
change after becoming a father?
I think both my daughters were like milestones in my life, just in my own personal development. I think my first journey of personal development started with my first daughter, and she was preterm. She was, in fact, quite early. And for a month, she was in the hospital, and we didn't know if she was going to survive or not. And for me, that was a huge kind of turning point in my life as a thing. And I still, remember those experiences. The first time she was in the, kind of NICU, and then, I just still remember her catching my little finger, with a strong grip, and it kind of conveys some things to you, right? And at that moment, we didn't know if she's going to make it or not. It was that kind of close. But then when she gripped my finger, then there was that transmission saying, hey, I'm going to make it, don't worry, as a thing, right? So we have these, very different experiences with kids. So, uh, first daughter was, kind of preterm. We had our own, challenges of, first 2 years we struggled and all that. And then, of course, things kind of settled down. Uh, my second daughter, I think, Kimaya, is now, she's going to be 10 soon. And so that was a second journey for me. At that point of time, I had an episode where, I thought I might be having a heart attack and die and all that. And that, from that episode, at that point of time, I just stopped drinking. Okay. And then, my whole life has been focused on personal development since that point. So both my kids have actually been huge turning points in my life as a thing. Now, just as a parent, the challenges have been that they are completely different personalities. Okay. So
Yes.
for my elder daughter, it was very easy for me because she was similar to me in many ways, a little bit sensitive, so I could make out her expression and things like that. And, my wife was kind of struggling with her because, she was a little more, kind of more expressive and thing as a person. My second daughter is a lot more like my wife. So she's more expressive. She likes, kind of thing. She'll challenge you. She'll ask you questions. She's extremely vocal about what she wants, what she doesn't want, and things like that. So I think the challenge for me was the shift in styles, which is to understand that what worked with my elder one is not going to work with her. Okay. And my second one is very fond of my
Right.
mother, of her mother. So she's like, much closer to my wife than to me, right? So even though I am doing the same things that I was doing earlier, but there is a difference in treatment, right? Okay.
Okay.
So then you have to digest that. She's a different personality. She has different preference. There's a different style. And this is not really about you, but this is about her expression. and how to, and that was the thing that, with my elder one, that, it was very easy to relate to her because of the fact that she was similar to me, and my younger one is very dissimilar in many ways. And, I had to kind of overcome my own, style limitations. Okay, she's expressive, she wants to dance, she wants to sing, and things like that, and so it required me to open up, a lot more. And thing, and she's very particular about what she wants. You have to sit and, kind of convince her and things like that. So I think the key thing for me is be flexible with your style. Okay, which is not very easy, because even I've seen, even with adults as managers, one of our huge issues is that we are constrained by our style. But the moment you can be flexible and deal with different people differently, which and work with the style that works for them, that's the best strategy. And I think that's my greatest learning. And and for both my kids, right, what I do, and this is a useful practice for parents also, is that I plot their strengths and their, kind of key passions over time.
Wow.
I keep
Okay.
noting down, saying, okay, my younger one likes to sing, she likes to dance, she's, kind of very clear about what she wants. There's clarity in her, kind of thought. She's good, she's very expressive. Okay, my elder one is more logic, she's very logical, she's very sensitive, she's very intellectual. She likes reading, she likes, kind of information based as a thing, right? So there are, so I think the thing for us is to expose them based on their interests, give them different exposures. Because what we want to do is, okay, I want to put both of them in singing class. My elder one is just not interested. So what will I, kind of do, right? But the younger one is. So, and it's also difficult because practically managing their schedules and, how to, manage that also
Correct.
becomes a constraint for us. So sometimes, that's also a thing. But if we can plot their passions and give them more exposures on those things, often what I see is that as parents, we miss a few things. Like I used to learn guitar and I gave up. Okay. And often I regret that, I didn't kind of go through it. So somehow we are trying to live our inadequacy, saying, oh, this
Right.
happened to me, I should at least, but only if they're interested. Okay. So in our case, the younger one is interested, the elder one is not. Ananya is not interested. So we have to, kind of work with their passions, give them more exposures, and then eventually, right, that is what is going to translate into some purpose in their life. So where we develop their, kind of innate things, and the more we can do it from the youngest times, right? That what, my younger one again is very, Kimi is very close to animals. So somewhere,
Okay.
animals, music, dance, expression, clarity, that takes you somewhere, right? Okay, what exposures can we, kind of give her on those domains? See how, kind of it goes. So that's the thing. See, and it requires consciousness from our end.
Right.
Okay, often we know, but we don't invest in it as a strategy, right? The earlier we pick up those and not impose our, kind of requirements on them, but really work with, who they are, then slowly, they discover themselves. That is what you want. You are not trying to force yourself onto them, but you are, by directing them, by picking up these things, noticing it, giving them little more exposure. Because sometimes, as they get more exposure, sometimes their interest dies off. Often, many times, right, you have so many people who say, oh, I'm going to become, I'm interested in photography and all of that. So I also went and learned and all that. After, after coming back, I did only 2 days of photography. After that, I stopped. Now I can't even take a proper photo. So, but then there are friends
Yes.
of mine who are, kind of who become like expert photographers. One person is interested in wildlife photography and so on. So the fact is that, only when you expose, then you know how much interest that actually is. And sometimes it is not to the extent that it shows up as a flash and then goes away. but that exposure will make it clear.
Right. No, it's amazing, Shriram, actually, how you treat each of your daughter as individuals and you follow their lead instead of, trying to push things on them. Like generally, as parents, we think that this is the best for our child and this is what our child should be doing. And we also create a schedule for them based on our understanding. But like you said, we should follow their lead.
See, that thing comes out of our need to control. Often as parents, right? We feel responsible for their life. We think that somehow we should make them successful, we should make them happy. That is not our responsibility. Our responsibility only is to keep them safe, give them the right values, give them the right beliefs, let them live their life. Because the more we try to control, as I say, everybody wants freedom. How do you control? You put rules. Okay. And when you don't follow rules, you go into punishment mode, or you go into kind of criticism mode. The less rules you
Absolutely.
have and make people more responsible, right? That is the difficult part, that they still do what is right, but without you prescribing the rules. Evolve them, and don't operate from your need to control. You cannot determine, how will you control their lives throughout. They'll go to college, they'll go somewhere, they'll go outside. Okay, but as thing we want to, yes, you have to keep them safe. That I agree completely, that you shouldn't, you're not kind of thing. But we don't stop there. We want to control all aspects of their life: who they talk to, what they do, which course they go to, which subject they'll choose, and how much marks they should get. Let them be. It's all right. Okay, you give them the broad thing, give them safety, give them some, like a broad scape to work with. You be there on the outside, so that in case they fall, you're there to pick them up, and they will fall. When you give, kind of either way, they will fall, even if you control, but they will fall because they're trying to get out of your control. But rather, you let them learn, but they're saying that I'm there, we'll pick you up, and then they evolve. They say, okay, it's okay for me to fail. And I think the other point, of course, is over here is that often we try to be very perfect. Okay, we say, okay, if I'm, upset with something, I don't want to be upset in front of the kids. I don't want to cry in front of the kids, right? I think it's important for us to be vulnerable, to share that we have problems. We are not perfect. We do something wrong, and we are okay to say sorry. The other thing I notice is very few parents actually say sorry to their kids genuinely when they make a mistake. Okay. So first is our thing that teaches us humility and teaches them also that it's okay to kind of thing. But the more important thing is the vulnerability, where they learn that life is not perfect. Whatever we try to control, they will go through their own troubles. If it may not be with money and comforts, but it will be with mental. It will be with expectations. It will be with mindset. How will you go and control all of that? The more we try to control, in fact, we have to go back. We have to release the control, but still hold the boundaries and walk with them, pick them up, but let them be there. Let them live their life with you being a distant guardian rather than you being the horse rider and taking them, wherever they want to go. That doesn't work. Many parents are trying to do this, that you want to ride the chariot and take them and to places. That's not going to work.
Right. No, I absolutely agree, Shriram. I think we're all trying to learn, and these are some of the things we want to pick up. Quite insightful, whatever you've shared with us today. Any message you have for all parents out there? Anything that you want to tell to all the parents watching this video?
I think three things I want to leave them with. One is be a positive parent. Okay, it's extremely important for you to practice positive, kind of parenting. Become more conscious. Okay, become more conscious of your own, kind of limitations of what is going through from you to them in your daily interactions. Everything that you do is something they're picking up on. Your good, your bad thing. Increase the good influence. Be, and if required, be vulnerable in that. Okay. Develop people to, kind of teach, be responsible, kind of parents. Teach them about, being responsible for, not only themselves, for the broader, kind of thing. Because often the bigger thing that we need to do is that we are leaving a legacy for them. They need to maintain that. And this is that we will do only if we're responsible to ourselves, to our family, to the greater community, to the earth in general. So wherever it's possible, teach them, responsibility of taking care of things. In the moment you do even the smallest, kind of thing, you throw that wrapper over there, you say it is okay for us to, kind of throw trash somewhere. It's okay for us to do this because it benefits us. You're not teaching them the right thing. Okay. These three things, we need to broaden our scope. Let's not be too selfish and only take care of, oh, my child, they should only be successful. What will they be successful if, if everything around them is collapsing, right? So we have to teach. And, and the important thing that I realize is that when I'm trying to teach happiness habits to adults, it's very difficult. Changing behavior as adults is extremely difficult. Okay. So then from there, I went to colleges and I'm doing some work with colleges also. But even there, they have come with a fixed mindset. So actually, where
Okay.
we can, the only place where we can actually teach them, good, positive happiness habits is when they are small, when they are little. Okay. And give them the right exposures. Don't let them watch your adult stuff and your violence and all of that. When you have to have the discipline to not do certain things in front of your child, which is going to cause damage to them. Often, we don't want to do it, but then later those consequences play out. That is the price we have to pay, if you want to be good parents. I think probably those are the big things that I can think of.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Ram. I think some of these things have made me, while talking to you, they've made me conscious myself as a parent, and I am sure I'm going to implement some of these things right away. So thank you so much for useful insight, and it was lovely having you on
Thank
this
you so
chat.
much. Appreciate it. All the very best to you. Thank you.
Thank you.